Good evening, good evening, viewers, and welcome to Ubuntu channel. In the studio, I'm with Lancy, who is my co-host. Kansi wangena kudala Lancy, sina kuoni. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much, Himba. Good evening to you. Good evening to the viewers. And of course, it's an exciting Thursday. Yet again, we are back with your favorite program, which is Nsaka. Thank you.
Please, Lance, go ahead and introduce our guest and the topic as well. It's nice to see you after a long time.
Definitely. It's also good to see you after a long time. So, for our viewers, we are saying thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate that you are a part of this program. As usual, do not forget to like and share this broadcast, as well as call out your family and friends to come and also tap from the knowledge that we have from our able guests. Also, do not forget that the program is not suitable for viewers younger than 18, as the language that is used on this program is not suitable for younger viewers. So therefore, we implore you, our viewers, to make sure that you take away the young children or the little children so that they do not get corrupt in the mind with the language that's used on this program. That being said, in the studios, as you can see, we have a brand new addition, and I'm super excited because at least we have two perfect gentlemen that are vast with information, that are vast with knowledge as well as wisdom. And of course, to introduce the first guest that we have in the studio, we have Uncle Jericho. Uncle Jericho, good evening and welcome to Nsaka.
Good evening, Lance. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, viewers.
All right, thank you so much. And also, Evangelist is out for a while, but he will be back in a short while. Now, our topic of discussion this evening, we are looking at red flags in a marriage, or red flags in marriage. Of course, this is going to be broken down into details by our two wisdom vested guests, as also at some point we'll give you, the public, chance to come through into the studio to be part of the program, ask a question, share a view, as well as express yourself in what you have learned or maybe what you want to find out. So the studio link will be shared with you as the program progresses. But like I said, do not forget to like, share, and comment so that we get to appreciate you and appreciate your well-being. Now, as we are waiting for Evangelist Shaabula, let's kick it off with Uncle Jericho. Uncle Jericho, we are talking about red flags in marriage. Perhaps we can start with, what are these red flags in a marriage, and how does one get to notice that this is a red flag?
I hope I got you right, but the line is breaking. But I hope you're asking to say, what are these red flags in marriage, isn't it? If that is the question, well, marriage is a relationship. And in a relationship, there are certain things that make it tick, and there are certain things that don't make it tick. And so if there's anything that is not helping to build that relationship, it is a red flag. For example, you don't want to spend time together. That's a red flag. Why would you not want to spend time with your loved one, the one you said I do to? All right, that's a red flag. Or you don't fight anymore. That may sound a little crude anymore. I mean, crude, but you don't fight anymore. Like, things go wrong, you don't talk about them. You don't ask, things are happening and you just let them flow. That is a red flag. Well, no more sex. A serious red flag. because sex is enshrined in marriage, and if it's not there, it's a red flag. Maybe I should, for now, say there was somebody else who come and cover up, unless you're saying I still have time, but I could chip in one more. Sexual incompatibility. Can I break this down a little bit?
Yes, please.
You still have some fire, some light. There's still some candle that is lighting. And your friend has a forest. There's some incompatibility there. Somebody's still on fire, sexually, still, agile, still strong. And the other one is like, well, that is a red flag. Maybe for now, let me just stop at that point. We can go more as we continue down this line. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Uncle Jericho. But I think I would implore you to the flags that you have mentioned. Let's get to break them down in details, one by one, so that at least somebody out there or a viewer out there that is watching this program gets to understand in details what, like you've mentioned, is sexual incompatibility. What is it exactly? If we talk about you've stopped arguing or you don't talk about things anymore, how, in what way, who doesn't do what, the quietness. And I think let's get to break it down in pieces so that somebody watching out there gets to really understand.
I could hardly get what you're saying. I think it's the network or something. I could hardly get anything at all. So I wish there was a way that I could actually get everything that you said to be able to respond properly. So I really can't respond. I didn't get anything. It's completely breaking right through and through. So I wish we could find a way to have to hear you clearly.
All right. I think the IT is looking into that. But are you able to get me now? Can you get me clearly?
Now I can get you clearly.
Okay, great. Even better. So I was saying these red flags that you have mentioned, let's break them down in details. Because somebody that is watching out there and is not married yet will be thinking, okay, if I marry and she doesn't talk to me, then that means it's a red flag. Perhaps let's break it down.
All right. Okay. Let's go with the first one. If you remember, I said you don't want to spend time together. All right. Who does not want to spend time with their loved ones? The whole idea that you decided to choose out of all these people in the world, this particular person, it means that part of you is with this particular person. When they're not there, it's like half of you is not there. So you just have to spend time together. If you don't spend time together with that particular person that, in quotation marks, you love, then it is a red flag. Then maybe if there's falling in love, maybe you are falling out, you are not doing what the married people do, because married people spend time together. Even those that are in a relationship that are going towards marriage, they spend time together. It's not a secret. It happens. Even some before they are allowed to, they find time to spend so that they get to know more about each other. You get to learn about each other. You get to learn the dislikes. And that can only come when you spend quality time together. So I hope somebody will actually be able to get that. You need to spend time together. It's needful. So that is what I say. And the second one I said, you don't fight anymore. Well, can I chip in with the Tonga proverb?
Definitely. Feel free.
In Chitonga we say, Mata wali bubili tabuli kujumbana. Can I break that in English? Two battles always rub against each other. And when you are together, there will be times when you fight, when there's some friction. It's just normal. You can not always see things eye to eye. One day you will differ. Those are little fights that are there. For as long as there's a marriage, there'll be little fights that come up. Of course, you sort them up. You'll be able to say, "Oh, sorry, I thought I was doing this. I thought you were seeing it from this point." Then it's not like punching each other. No, that's what I mean. So basically, we are saying there are those particular things that you talk about. You differ. If you don't talk about what happened, if you just let it go, you don't listen anymore. If you don't get offended, if there's no some sort of anger that comes as a result of something that has been said that you didn't like, those are not fights anymore. In this relationship, it is normal to have little fights. There is no relationship that is smooth. The fact that you differ, you get to discover and to know that, my friend doesn't like this particular one, so you make amends, you get to learn them more. So that is what I meant by that. No more sex. Is that not self-explanatory? But let it is. Like I said, for medical reasons, people may not have sex. But if it is a conscious decision not to, then that is a red flag. Intimacy, sexual intimacy, is what separates your marriage from every other relationship. Because sex, for us that believe in Christ, that are Christians, it can only be practiced in marriage. Okay? I hope I've explained that someone can actually get that. Thank you.
Definitely. All right. So thank you so much, Uncle Jericho. We really appreciate. And of course, Evangelist, good evening and welcome to today's edition of Nsaka.
Good evening, and you are welcome also. Thank you.
Okay, great. So we are discussing this evening, we are discussing red flags in a marriage. And we would like to understand in details, how does one get to tell that this is a red flag that my partner is raising, or what are these red flags? Evangelist.
Thank you so much, Lancy. Thank you so much, Himba, and my brother Milambo. You're welcome, and everyone tuned in.
Thank you.
To ask you to listen very, very carefully. When we talk of red flags or red flag, what are we talking about? We are talking about signs of a healthy relationship, signs of a dying relationship, signs of a tired relationship. That's what we're talking about. And these signs are indicators. They are symptoms. They are there to help you understand the healthy state of your relationship. And it will help you to know at what level you are flying in that marriage, in that relationship. Now, red flags will help you understand why your friend is behaving the way he's behaving or she's behaving. Now, I'll give you an example. In mining areas, you go to Chingola, you go to Rwansha, you go to Mufrila. I'm talking about the mining areas. There you will find what is called the red flags put around that area. Now, these red flags indicate to you that this is a D zone. It's a danger zone. You cannot just walk into that area, but you have to be assisted and you have to get permission because it's dangerous for you. That's why you see those red signs, red flags. There are certain times when you are driving on a busy track, on a busy road, highway road, and you see a truck coming, there will be a small car with red flags. A small vehicle with red flags, which is a sweeping vehicle, indicating that there is something heavier and bigger and more dangerous coming behind. Even that truck itself also will have red flags. Himba, why do you think they put all these red flags around the vehicle? It is to warn the people, to warn pedestrians, motorists, and anybody using the road that there is danger coming behind or ahead of you, so that you take precautions. So, ladies and gentlemen, in any relationship, in most cases, you always start on a good note. I love you, I dig you, you are my oxygen, you are my bubblegum, you are my honey, whatever titles you call each other. When you begin, maybe the first 3-6 months, you are still bubblegum and sweet corn, all those titles that you call each other. The more you begin to advance into the life of your friend, the more you begin to notice their weaknesses. And those weaknesses, some of them are serious weaknesses which you cannot ignore. Sometimes there are signs or signals or indicators which are here today, but tomorrow they can go. So for those that are in relationships, now I'm talking to those that are in relationships which they want to take into marriage. Listen to me. Listen to me. In a relationship, when you are in a relationship, it's difficult to see the red flags. Why? You are covered, your eyes are covered in love. And so you cannot see properly what the problem is. That's why sometimes we always ask neighbors, friends, and relatives to help us see the true character of your partner, so that as you get into the marriage, you don't lose focus of that person. Now, when as you move together, when your marriage begins to get tired, these signs will begin to show. As you get older in your marriage, Himba, your husband will start showing certain signs of getting tired, either with you or with the marriage. Sometimes you yourself, you will start showing these signs to your husband that you are not happy with this, or you are not happy with this marriage. And a good husband who is sharp here will begin to understand you. In fact, this is another language. We call it body language. This is all body language, because things will be just happening and you have to decode that. There are certain times when certain situations will be verbal. Somebody will say this when actually what they mean is this. Let me give you an example. When a marriage is getting tired, a relationship is about to die, and something has gone wrong, sometimes you find that somebody will not bring out the problem on the table to be discussed, but instead they will start showing you through actions and through words that they are not happy about you concerning something. For example, lack of communication. Communication will be affected. If you used to spend time together, chatting, discussing, joking, but because of something that happened, maybe it was a text message that you received from a Yobari, and your husband sees it and did not even ask you. Sometimes he wants to give you time to think about it, or maybe to come up in the open and tell him. You find that communication will go down, and you begin wondering as to what has happened, why communication has been affected. Now, if you've got good eyes and good ears, you should be able to understand that something somewhere has gone wrong. And it is important for you to look around, search yourself and search your soul before you begin blaming the other person. So that is a red flag when communication is affected. Even when you are together, this person will not talk to you. You must know that this is a red flag. Sometimes it comes to what we call respect. When you just begin in your relationship, there is respect between the two of you. Maybe one can be talking, the other one is listening. The other one is listening, the other one is talking. But when there are sour grapes, something has gone wrong. You'll find that the person who was keeping quiet, receiving as you talk. So this person will begin answering back and sometimes even shouting. And meaning that even the respect is now affected. An intelligent husband to be, or husband, or intelligent wife to be, or just a wife, we will know that something has gone wrong because respect is affected. It's a red flag for you. Sometimes it is trust. When trust is lost, your husband stops trusting you, your boyfriend stops trusting you, your girlfriend stops trusting you, you will see that this person will begin behaving in a certain funny way. Maybe this person will have an extra dish, side plate, side chick, side lady, side man, spare wheel. And when this begin to happen, and you discover that, you must know that there is something wrong that has gone, something has gone wrong. So it is a sign that something has gone wrong. Sometimes among the married people, you find that in the marriage there is no sex. Sex, I didn't say six, I said sex, not six. There's no sex. When there's no sex in the marriage, of course, the reasons can be many. We should not always conclude that something has gone wrong. It could be sickness. It could be tiredness. It could be fatigue. It could be just the overworking oneself. Sometimes it is misunderstanding. Sometimes there's a bone to chew, which has not been resolved. So this is also a red flag that something has gone wrong. When you are not getting this, sit down and find out what the problem is. If possible, sit down and resolve the problem. Sometimes, somebody will start, bursting, just bursting, getting angry. You say this, she says this. You say this, he says this. We call that my shortcuts, my penalties. That my penalty, even when there's no handball, then you must know that something has gone wrong. Open your eyes to see what has gone wrong. Open your ears to hear and understand what has gone wrong. It's a red flag. There are certain times, when she will start complaining now, what we call nagging. When she is not able to say something that you have done or something that is troubling her, this mostly is women. There are also men who do the same, but mostly it is women. She will start nagging. What is nagging? Complaining consistently. Consistently complaint. This and that. Oh no, this man, he never fixes anything around the house. He never takes me out. He will never get up early in the morning. He watches television the whole day. He spends the time foolishly. Nagging. So all these are indications of a frustrated relationship. And this is a sign that your marriage is on its way to the graveyard. So you need to open up your eyes and sort it out. The other issue here is for those that are in a relationship. Now I'll say it softly as I even take a glass of water. You are in a relationship and your boyfriend begins to slap you. He slaps you. He's not your husband. is just a boyfriend, and you are just a girlfriend. Now, and these
It looks like we've lost Evangelist, and while we are waiting for Evangelist to come back, I'll get back to Mr. Milambo. Mr. Milambo, you earlier mentioned that if people are not... You earlier mentioned that if people are not having sex, but at this moment, I would love to go a little bit off the topic. Okay, Evangelist is back. Welcome, Evangelist. Please continue.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I was saying, I would like to address those that are in a relationship. They are not yet married. You've got a boyfriend, and this boyfriend, because of some confusion or some jealous, he slaps you, and then you complain, and then he apologizes. The next time again, he slaps you. Red flag which should not be ignored. I want to tell you that if you continue with that relationship, he will not slap you with his hands. He's going to slice your throat with a knife. He's going to slice, he'll cut your throat with a knife. If in a relationship we can slap you and you allow that, when you get married, he will slice your throat. And my word to you is, get out of it. That's a red flag you cannot ignore. You are in a relationship, and this person has got girlfriends and boyfriends, and you know that he has got boyfriends and girlfriends. You are in a relationship. It is time for you to get out of that relationship, because even when you get married, that person is going to get the second wife, third wife, fourth wife, and he will tell you, so do not go that way. These red flags must not be ignored. The other issue is attention. If you used to spend a lot of time together, and this person is no longer sitting with you, you no longer chat together, you never laugh together, you never sing together, you never dance together, you don't eat together, it's a serious indication, a serious red flag for you to be cautious that this relationship has got patches, it has got gray areas, and it requires attention. It must be treated soonest before it can go into the mortuary. The other one is, you've got a friend of yours, this friend of yours, or this husband of yours. Now, in most cases, he just decided to become too secretive. Everything that he does it undercover. It can be the phone, it could be the car, it could be the purse, it could be the computer, or anything. Anything that he keeps to himself, whatever it is, you must be cautious. There could be a frog in the phone, and he does not want you to see it and to know that there is a frog. So such an attitude is an indication of a poor relationship that you are in. The other, home late, is coming home late. Before he used to come early. Honey, what this, I passed through what and what. And he begins to give you so many excuses. And in most cases, they'll be so good, they'll be so nice, they will sound to be very holy. When in fact, they're not holy. He has come late. That coming late is an indication of what he is doing somewhere. Why should he come late now? without a good explanation.
We seem to continue having internet challenges with Evangelist there. Himba, before Evangelist came in, you had a question for Uncle Jericho.
Thank you so much, Lance. I was actually going off topic, but because he mentioned it earlier when he was trying to define what a red flag is and how we should notice. But my question is, is it only people who are married who should have sex? What about those people that have been married and lost their husbands, or they've been divorced? Are they also supposed to wait until they get married? Uncle J, please respond to that.
Well, from my understanding, well, maybe from my background as a Christian, for me, that's my belief. For Christians, sex is only between married people. For those that are not Christians, well, they can do it anyway, anytime. They have no conscience. But for married people, I mean, for Christians, those that have believed Christ, they have decided to take a certain lifestyle fashioned around the way Christ lives. It is not right to have sex when you are not married. So in a relationship that is a Christian marriage relationship, then you can only have sex when you are
Lance, why am I a problem? You are 50. You know, you have children, you are divorced, and you meet another partner. So you have to wait paka ni abstinence at 50 or at 60.
Yes, absolutely so.
We have Evangelist in the studio. Evangelist, please, over to you.
Yes. The other issue that I want to bring up is that, you know, one of the red flags that will indicate to you that your relationship is dying, or your marriage is dying, or it is on its way to the mortuary. It's the blame game. The blame game. Blaming each other. No, it is this. No, it's this. No, why did you not call? But you should have also called. You know, don't you know my number? You should have called. Is it me who should call? Now, when you get into that kind of talk, you know, we call it, you know, the punch. The punch relationship. When you get into that one, just know that you are on your way to the grave, to bury your relationship, to bury your marriage. This is a red flag. The other one is withdraw. Withdraw. What am I talking about? When you see that your friend, you know, whenever something happens, that person withdraws. They don't want to say anything. They don't want to do anything. They don't want to participate in what you are doing. They are always withdrawn. The message that they have is that I don't want to talk to you, or I don't want to quarrel with you, or because you are talkative, or maybe I don't want to fight you. So they withdraw. In a relationship, they should not be withdrawing. A relationship that is healthy, there must be communication. There must be talk. They must be working together. They must be planning together. There must be respect. There must be communication. You do things together. You can't do it alone. In this dying relationship, one of the flags that is there is being defensive. Honey, there's this thing. What about this? Don't you know that I had to do this because of whatever it is? Always coming up with an excuse, trying to explain, to find answers to everything that is raised against you. Instead of accepting your blame, your challenge, to say, well, I'm sorry that such a thing has happened. Maybe let's see how we can put it right. That is a spirit that will help you move forward. But when you have somebody who is going to be defensive, then you must know that you will not achieve anything. The other one, so that I give people time to also to talk, is criticism. When somebody begins to criticize you for anything that you do this, you'll be criticized. Look at how you are seated. Your posture is not good. You are sitting like a jumbo. Or you see the way your eating habits, you eat like a pig. The tone of your voice as if it's a quack. You see, you see. Look at the choice of your friends. I don't like that friend of yours. How did you choose that person? As if you are drunk. Well, all these are indicators that your relationship is dying. Ladies and gentlemen, let's be very careful in the way we handle our relationships. There's no relationship which will just die there suddenly. In most cases, there are indicators that your relationship or your marriage is tilting towards the grave. It is actually heading into the direction of a graveyard. And therefore, it is important for you to take precautions now. How do you take those precautions? Sit down and discuss those matters maturely. If you are the husband, when you sit at a round table, don't sit there to show your supremacy that you are the boss. No. In marriage, there's no being boss. There's no being, a superhuman or a man or a lady. In marriage, it is 50-50. And that 50-50 put together, it gives us 100%. When we sit and discuss and find a solution amicably, both of us will enjoy. The husband will enjoy, the lady will enjoy, the children will enjoy, the visitors will enjoy, the family members will enjoy, the community will enjoy, and the nation will enjoy. And this can only do to a person who is going to humble herself, and eat our words, eat the pie, indicate that you are sorry, and show that you are sorry and apologize and find a solution to your problems. No person will find answers to your relationships. I have told people when I counsel them, especially those when we're doing conflict management, conflict resolution, I tell them there's no other person who is going to find an answer to the problem you have in this home, except yourselves. You decide to build this marriage, or you choose to destroy it. It is not a counselor. It's not your father. It's not your mother. It is the two of you using your intellect and also your heart, understanding the circumstances in which you are operating from. Ladies and gentlemen, it is you to build your own marriage. It is me to build my own marriage. It is me to destroy my own marriage, and it is you to destroy your own marriage. Sometimes what you are going through, you contributed. And so, if you are wise, you would better reverse and relook at how you are managing your relationship. Because the red flags are surrounding you and you know what caused the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I invite comments. I also invite questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Evangelist. We really appreciate. But before we bring in comments, or before we bring in our studio guests, let's get to, I think, deal with these red flags. Uncle Jericho, after identifying the red flags of this marriage, or maybe of this relationship which was once healthy, after identifying these red flags, how does one, or how does the couple go forward in addressing these red flags to see to it that the relationship or the marriage gets back to what it was once before it got to a point that it is irretrievably breaking out?
Well, again, I think the audibility is not so good, but I guess you're asking how do you get back to what it was before after you notice these red flags? That's what you're asking, isn't it?
Yes.
Great. I think the first is to understand that something has gone wrong. For as long as each one does not want to accept, understand that something is gone wrong here, no one will find a solution. And no blame games to say it's him that started, it's her that started, so they must find a solution. The fact that marriage is between two people, the two people must come to a place where they sit and see things from that particular point of view. My friend, if it is me that is wrong, I accept that I've done something wrong. I accept, I take responsibility and make somebody, offer my apologies if I have to. Or sometimes if your friend does not seem to see the thing that is wrong in this particular situation, yet you are the one that actually see that is actually my partner. Sometimes you just have to apologize for the sake of peace so that you can move properly and be able to accommodate these things. If you do not take a step to sort your situation, trust me, no outsider from the two of you will find that solution, because you are the ones that are in that particular situation. So you must take the situation. If you're going to go to a counselor, maybe they should be able to give you advice. But even when they give you advice, if you don't act upon it, it will not come to pass. It is said like this: the resolution to return home is good, but the blessings only come when you act upon the resolution. So we must come to a point where this has gone wrong and we messed up, or I messed up. So swallow my pride, offer my apology. Can we start afresh? And we move on. I think if we do that, we can go back to where we started and we can enjoy the beauty of marriage and a healthy relationship.
All right. Thank you so much, Uncle Jericho. We really appreciate. Now, to our viewers, the link has been shared with you in the comments box. Please, if you'd love to share a view, have a comment, or come through into the studio and have a one-on-one with our able minds, come through. This is your chance. The opportunity has been granted or given to you. For those of you that are failing, please continue commenting underneath the broadcast so that we will be able to read your message. And already in the studio, we have Mary that has joined us. Mary, good evening. How are you doing today?
I'm okay. How is everybody doing?
We are doing fine, thank you. Your contribution, comment, or question?
For me, I think I just have a question. It's a new topic for me, since I've already mentioned I'm not yet married, but getting there. But if at the point where you say red flags in marriage, are you telling me to say for someone to only start seeing red flags in marriage, does that mean that during the courting period, one or two or both of them were not being honest with each other? Because I thought during the courting period, that's when people get to know whether this person is the one, this person is like this person will do this or be like this. So does that mean if red flags start happening when you're married, does that mean that one or both of you were either not being honest with each other or honest with yourselves? I'm asking that question. I'm questioning that.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. And I'm sure Evangelist and Uncle Joe, you've gotten that question. Mary is probably asking, you've been dating, you never saw all these flags. You've been together, you didn't see kumanda. This is leading to the grave. So, can only people see that these red flags after they're married? So Mary is trying to find out, if I got her right, she's trying to find out why should it take a couple to notice about these red flags in marriage and they did not notice them where they were married. Over to you, Uncle Jay, and then we go to Evangelist.
I think if you heard the Evangelist very well, you said if you are in a relationship with a boyfriend and they slap you, that's a red flag. That's way before marriage. So it has actually been mentioned. The whole idea of courting is to be able to know each other. And certain indicators will show that as much as this particular person is proving to be good now, there are certain times when they react in this particular situation that I may not be comfortable with. That is a red flag. So red flags may not just be seen after you're married, if that is what we put across, sorry, but red flags can be noticed on your journey to your day that you ring the bells. So you just have to be alert, just have to watch for those particular red flags because they're all over, they are all over. If this particular person is not ready to talk about marriage in the house, that's a red flag. How will you talk about that particular finances in the house if you can't talk about them now? If he does not show you that he's welcoming to your relatives before you get married, how sure are you that he will when he gets there? So red flags are all dotted along the way, and you must be able to identify them even as you go towards the D-Day.
Yeah, thanks so much. Brother Milambo, grateful. Thank you so much. I live in Nsaka. I'm in Nsaka here. But as I drive to Kitwe Ondola, in most cases along the road, you find all sorts of signs along the road. Even by the time I get to Ndola, they will say you are now 20 kilometers away from Ndola. This is Bwana Mkubwa. All those are signs. Now, I can bypass Ndola if I lose sight of the signs. If I ignore those signs, I'll end up either getting into Kapirimposhi and they think that I've reached Ndola because I do not look for those signs. I do not look for those indicators. Now, even in a relationship, if you begin to, you know what happens in most cases, Himba, is that when we are in a courtship, in most cases, our boyfriends, they always want to take us to Hungry Lion, those eating places or places of interest. Instead of sitting, find a place where we can sit and discuss serious issues that will affect us in our marriage, we are busy talking about the ice cream. We are talking about a Hungry Lion. We are talking about a pizza. A pizza will not keep you. It will not marry you. Talk about the children, how many children you want to have, where you are going to live, how you are going to raise your children, how you are going to you'll be receiving your visitors in your home, what business you are going to do to sustain your marriage. These are things that you need to discuss in your courtship. Talk about the discipline, talk about the character building, talk about investment, what you want to do even before you get married. The other point that you need to do is your eyes may not be sufficient to see the wrongs in that person. That is why in the villages we've got the best marriages coming from villages, because we do not only depend on two people. We've got relatives also who look at the behavior of the lady that you want to get married, the behavior of the gentleman that you want to get married. The relatives will check out. The neighbors will check out. Church mates will check out. Even when he has got a girlfriend in Chilenje, but you stay in Charleston, the other members will say, no, batuja mwamuna, tinampeza umarket na mkazi wali so. Koti sister wake. Do not ignore these reports that you get. And at the same time, caution, I'm trying to ask you to listen. At the same time, do not take everything that you are told and act upon it. Sieve kusefra, sieve, and check whether what they are saying is true or not true. And if it is true, how do you handle it? You know, the problem is that, you know, Himba, we do not check, you know, these red flags. We ignore them.
Thank you so much, Evangelist. In the studio, we have been joined by Josephine. Good evening, Josephine, and welcome to the program. Josephine, good evening. Josephine, are you there? Welcome to the program. Okay, it seems like Josephine is not with us, or maybe she has muted herself. Evangelist and Uncle
Yes.
Jim. So, if a man or a woman in a house, mwalera dafye bwino mwalese kafye bwino apo baisa tampati waisa ndati sweetie wale askati sweetie umwana alefwa ensapato ningumfwa and he's busy on the laptop. Sweetie ngalero mwachero okisa lyonze chichero okisa. What does that mean? Evangelist.
Yeah, first of all, before we call it a red flag, when you see that red flag, do not always blame your friend. Also check yourself. When your friend is busy on the computer, you don't know the urgency of the matter, and you just want to ask him to stop what he's doing and attend to what you want. This I call it approach. I call it your approach must change so that you see whether he's going to answer you the same way. And if you are going to be talking to him every day like that, then that is also a red flag on your side, because your approach is abusive. You are abusing him. The issue here is that we need to be very careful, even as we see these red flags. Sometimes that red flag may have come up because of the way we have handled that person. So here, wisdom is required. In Proverbs chapter 24, verse 3, the Bible says, marriage is built by wisdom. Marriage is built by wisdom. A foolish woman or a foolish man will lose their marriage because of the way they've handled it. So it is not always the person who is not answering properly to blame. Sometimes it is you who is asking. Maybe you are asking a foolish question.
Oh, thank you so much, Evangelist. So does it mean even when I'm asking a foolish question, am I supposed to be ignored? Yes. I end my question. Mary, I'm sure Mary has a follow-up question. Mary, will you please come in before Uncle J comes in, please? Never just Mary, you're welcome once again. Okay, I think Mary is muted, or she's not at the moment.
Yes, Himba, let's finish that one. Himba, let's finish that one. Let's finish that one.
Mary, just hold your thoughts. Evangelist, come in, please.
Yes, Himba, you are right. Even if you are wrong, somebody should not start hooting because you are wrong. No, that's not it. We don't retain wrong for wrong in marriage, in relationship. We are not competing. So if you are wrong as a wife, you have asked a question which is not intelligent, then, and you are married to an intelligent man, you should be able to say, honey, yes, what you are saying is right, what and what. And when things are okay, you can say, honey, you asked about this, but what I think is that maybe we need to find time to do this and this. He should be able to answer you properly rather than hit you with a punch. It will not be right. It's not a punch for a punch. No, not at all.
Over to you, Uncle Jay. Any comment before we bring in CJ?
You really, I think it's not nice to be ignored. Somebody must give you the courtesy to actually politely say, okay, excuse me, I am busy. Or it is important that the things that we used to do during the courtship continue, because they help the marriage or the relationship to flourish. Once we see that those things are not happening, hello honey, somebody is answering you like you've been talking to a goat, then you begin to see something is wrong here. So we need to be able to maintain that, because the more we maintain it, the more we build and begin to actually grow a better relationship. So we need to be able to maintain it. I'll definitely begin to worry when my partner does not say, hello, sweetie, when we used to say hello, sweetie, in our courtship or before we got married. So those things are supposed to. But also, Evangelist said, you also must be able to read the mood. You know, maybe I'm busy, I'm so concentrating, and that one may not be coming up. Sometimes we all have those particular lived situations, so we shouldn't be able to say that was a red flag. Sometimes the red flags that we see are actually green, because somebody is actually busy concentrating and there's some business schedules they have to do. Your hello, sweetie, darling can also wait. I'll rest my case at that point.
Thank you so much, Uncle Jay. But abantu abatemu okushita abana boigino, it's the agenda. It's the agenda on the left side. Before CJ, come through, please. And then we'll go to Mary.
Good evening, panelists. Great to have you once again. And we are enjoying what you are offloading. Yeah, so my question goes to Evangelist as well as Uncle Jay. In your years of counseling, what are the red flags that you've encountered with couples that you would say, aya chikwati chifunika chisire? Okay, these ones cannot be worked on. What are the common or the major problematic red flags that are no-go where a marriage has to end? Thank you.
Thank you so much, CJ. We'll start with Evangelist. Evangelist, mwamona fyatawe inikumandairea. We have no choice, but before that, grave these two people go separate ways. What are those? We call them red flags, or we call them, I don't know. I think we should find the name, because they are no longer red flags now. Evangelist, over to you.
The number one, I don't call it a red flag. I'll call it the devil in the coffin. The devil in the coffin, number one problem in all relationships, whether boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife, it is unfaithfulness. 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 What is unfaithfulness in this context? Having extramarital relationships. This is problem number one. This one is difficult to deal with because some of it, in certain cases, it is a habit. In certain cases, it is caused by situations. So this is problem number one. Problem number two, it is poor communication. Poor communication. Poor communication can also be tied together with the no communication. Because poor communication means the communication is there, but it's not consistent. There are also situations whereby there is virtually no communication. And in most cases, when such a thing happens, that relationship, it goes on the path to the grave. The other one here, the fourth one, the third one, is actually lying, telling lies. You know, there are people that thrive on lies. A relationship thrives on lies. Akafuna ukamba chape muntu something, he has got to tell lies. And when the other person discovers that you've been lying, they cannot stand it. Especially lies that have got to do with a loss. Somebody is going to lose because you lied. They cannot stand. So these are some of the issues that stands out. Of course, there are other problems like not, accepting relatives in the home, being one-sided, favoring a certain group of people in the family, or just being lazy, being careless, being quarrelsome, talkative. These are other issues. But these three that I've said here, that I've brought out, there are headaches in many relationships. Even right now, some of us or some of you that are seated there, you fall under this. You find that your boyfriend or your husband has got a girlfriend. And you explain this and this, he will now go back to the other issue, lies. You begin lying and tell you stories, this and this and this. What is that? So these are some of the problems that I've met in my life. They are a chain, there are many, but these are prominent. Thank you.
All right, Evangelist, thank you so much for that. Speaking on behalf of the men, we don't cheat, we just decentralize. It's called decentralization. Anyway, that was on a lighter moment.
Himba, did you get that?
That's what.
Decentralization. Anyway, that's just on a lighter note. So, Uncle Jericho, from CJ's question, which are the red flags that you have seen, tried to cancel, but it has just never worked out, and therefore you advised that the marriage or relationship should just end because it can't work out anymore?
I wish I could get the question clearly, because there's quite some breakage as he was talking. So I wish somebody could just quickly, in summary, just give me the question so I can get it from a clearer point of view. I couldn't quite get the question, so I was trying to follow, but not quite getting what the question is. Is it possible?
Okay, are you able to get me now?
Okay, now at least.
Okay, so I was saying, from CJ's question,
Yes.
and also in your experience, what are the red flags that you have also experienced personally in counseling other people that failed to work out because these red flags were just too much? If the marriage or relationship can't be retrieved and you had to advise to say, I think just go separate ways, let's go for a divorce.
Well, yeah, like Reverend said, Reverend Evangelist, if even the word of God allows you to part ways when your friend is unfaithful. Infidelity, that's a no-go area. You are trying to unite what belongs to me with another. So I think otherwise it will not be. Any time that I look at you, it will be not that had happened to me. I have not suffered that particular situation. But in a marriage, in a relationship, if you discover your friend is unfaithful, that's a serious red flag. If you have not yet tied the knot, I would say, don't even go further, because you might expect serious ones as you go. And if people do not communicate properly, they don't really tell you the truth when you need it. I think a person that is not truthful in a relationship is not worthy to stay with. You never know how many lies they have told you. Maybe the only truth they've told you is their name, because probably you also heard somebody call him that name. But I think if they're not truthful, I don't think it's worth it going ahead. And if you're in a relationship and every now and again your friend is untruthful in their speech, in the way they do things, I think you are treading on dangerous ground. You better maybe come to a table and say, you have not been truthful all this time, so I don't even know whether it is you I'm seeing or it is a mask. So you just have to be careful, because you might be married to a different person. People put up appearances. These faces may not be, you're seeing me for the first time, maybe that's not what I look like. There's makeup, there's false hair. And if somebody is not being truthful, the one that you thought was nice and looking good, they may just be as dark as bleak. So maybe don't go. Or because of untruthfulness, I don't want to be in a relationship where somebody is not being truthful. And I don't want to be in a relationship where somebody is unfaithful.
All right. Thank you so much, Uncle Jericho. Before we get to read the comments, let me allow two questions to come through. Obviously, one coming through from CJ, and hopefully Mary gets to join back, as I know that she's burning with the question as well. So CJ, you can ask your ask.
Okay, my question borders on couples that have been wanting to have a child, but it hasn't happened. Is that a red flag enough for them to separate?
Any of the two can pick it up.
I didn't quite get the question. I don't know, that's my connectivity. Can somebody clear the question for me?
All right. Are you able to get me?
Yeah, though you're breaking too, but try. Maybe I'll try and get it.
All right. So his question borders on a couple that is unable to have children. Is that a red flag for one to leave?
Interesting. If
all right,
as you were
okay, yes, go on, Uncle Jericho.
All right. Well, for me, that would not be a red flag, because marriage is not only for procreation, it's also for companionship. But if you really wanted to have children and you want your partner is not able, maybe it's the husband or the wife, and you see that no, for as long as we don't have children in this particular relationship, it will not work, and it is your fault, and whatever, you've done the necessary tests, I think you can amicably say, let me find somebody else. If you don't agree to say we can adopt. Besides, not having children that you can bring forth yourselves is not a reason to part. Because if you can think through it, you can actually say, let's adopt. There are so many children that are walking around without parents. You can adopt, and if you think that you want really to father or to mother a child, for me, it will not be a reason, because you can always adopt.
All right. Evangelist Shaabula, I'll only give you a minute to respond, because if I leave you, you will respond infinitely, and By the time you will be done, we'll be closing the show. So I only give you a minute.
When we get married, in the first place, we do not get married for the purpose of having children. We get married because we fall in love with that person. The children are a by the way. Now, it is not the choice of your boyfriend, of your husband or wife not to have children. It's not her choice. And she has no control over that situation. The Bible says it is God who gives us the children. If He does not give us, there's nothing that we can do. That is part one. Part B, if you have a very strong urge of desiring to have children, maybe if you want, you can go to relatives. There are many relatives that we have that have got children that are not going to school. You can adopt children even from within your family members. Among your relatives, there could be somebody that has got children. You can keep them. If not within the society where you live, within the township where you live, you can find somebody to live with. It is not right for anybody to divorce anybody because of not having children. Not at all. For me, I will not accept that people should divorce because there are no children. No, not at all. Including those that have got relatives who force a husband to divorce his wife because there are no children. If they came to me, my mother, my sisters, my brothers, my fathers, my uncles, my grandfathers, everyone, they come to me and tell me, divorce your wife because there are no children. I will not do that because she did not choose not to have children. So I'll live with her. That's all.
All right.
And I'm not saying
thank you so much.
Somebody must go for artificial insemination. No, I will not do that. I will not do that because you can easily get a child from relatives and make that child your own. If you want, you can get papers, do those papers, and that child can use your name if you want a name.
All right. Thank you so much, Evangelist. We really appreciate, and hopefully CJ is satisfied with that answer. But due to time, CJ, you won't be given an opportunity to react or maybe follow up. Let's get to read the comments. Let's pay homage to people that are watching us using various social media platforms. And of course, from YouTube, we have Mary, who says, fine, infidelity is absolutely one of the things that can end marriages. But unfortunately, couples are made to reconcile later on when one make a mistake, goes back infidelity as a reference point. Okay. Thank you so much, Mary, for your contribution. Josephine says, children are a gift from God. So that is not an issue that would lead to a divorce. Marriage is not only for children. Thank you so much, Josephine. Shirley says, a lot of red flags may have been identified. The best is to accept the wrong, apologize, and change for the better. All right. Thank you so much, Shirley. So Modifa says, people can pretend a lot, and sometimes we only get to see the red flags after marriage. For how long can you stay with somebody or someone before you are sure of marriage? And what can you do to get someone to show you who they really are? Please take note of this question, Evangelist and Uncle Jericho, as I would like you to tackle this one. Let's continue with the messages. So Josephine comes back and says, red flags start even during courtship, and we overlook at them, thinking a partner will change in marriage. But those are the things that become big in marriage. Thank you so much, Josephine. Let's get to at least peruse through more messages. All right, so Shelly comes back as well, saying, good evening, panel. Indeed, those top 3 red flags, evangelists, are terrible and difficult to handle, leading to the marriage grave. Thank you so much, Shelly, for that message. All right, so we have most of them, I would say. All right, so Shelly comes again and says, when you divorce, you are free to get into the next relationship when your partner gets into another marriage. And that's when you can enjoy your sex life. Well, Himba, your question has been answered. Thank you so much, Shelly. Ernesto Mkelevai, good topic, and keep up the good work. Vujende of men are destroying manyumba. Side chicks syndrome, red flag. Thank you so much, Mukelevai, for that message. Now, panelists, we only have 4 minutes to end the program. One very important message or question that was raised by Modifa. Hopefully, it was taken note of. I will start with you, Uncle Jericho. Director, if we can have that message back on the screen so that it will be easy for our panelists to respond. Uncle Jericho, you can respond.
All right. People can pretend a lot, and sometimes we only get the red flag after marriage. For how long can you stay with someone before you are sure? Well, I think in a relationship, you build the trust. You get to know each other. That is the whole idea of courting, for you to be able to learn more about each other. You should be able to notice, after you've stayed for some time, to say, this particular person may actually be doing the rest. But if it keeps repeating and repeating and they give excuses, then that is something that you need to be careful about and begin to take note. And if these continue, why get into that particular marriage? So we may not be able to categorically say for how long, because courtship depends on individuals. There is not a specific time that people have said, no, if you court for 6 years, then it's okay. If you court for 5 years, then it's okay. 3 years, 1 year. No, I don't think so. But in that particular, if it is built on trust, built on understanding, built on truthfulness, and those are broken, built on the fact that we are going to stay apart, if you are Christians, apart before we can jump into bed, and somebody demands that we do, red flag. Because for my belief as a Christian, there are certain principles that I want to live by, and others don't want to abide by those. Red flag. I don't want to jump into bed. I don't have to prove by having sex with you before I marry you. So basically, it is difficult, again, I repeat, to actually say, to state a period of time that somebody can say, after this period, then I'm sure that we can actually get into marriage. I think that is what I would say in contribution to that.
Evangelist Shaabula, your response.
My response to that question of how long, I want you to understand this, that it depends on the situation, on the situation. What situation? The location. For example, if you live in Nsaka as a lady and your boyfriend is in another town, your courtship period will be longer because you do not stay together, you don't share a lot of things in common. So a lot of things will be hidden from your eyes. So your courtship will be longer. But the recommended courtship period by many of the counselors is that the period should not be less than 2 years. And this in 2 years, you must be in close contact from time to time. Not just on phone, but being together to see how that gentleman eats. You go to a restaurant, does he eat 4 pizzas and 8 bottles of Coca-Cola and 3 tubes of ice cream and also bewire? You must know how he eats. You know how he will know his mannerism in public at the table, you know, his dressing, how he talks, when he's angry, how does he behave himself, how does he laugh, when you are playing, there's music playing, how does he dance, does he remove the jacket and the shirt and tie it around his waist in public and dance with you? All these are things that you need to look into. So the recommended period is not less than 2 years. And this means that you are always in regular contact. But people that have got a relationship which is in different towns or different townships, their courtship period will be longer because they need to get to know each other. This is what I have to say to that question. So in other words, also the courtship depends on how you relate with each other. Sometimes if you are too close, you go to church, you are neighbors, your courtship period will be shorter because you have known each other and there are other people that have helped you see the weaknesses of the other person. As you do that, you are not just checking on the weaknesses of the other person, you are also checking your personal weaknesses, whether your weaknesses can be accepted by the other person. Because some of these weaknesses are inherent. You know, we are born with. They are in us. We can't divorce them. They are with us. Sometimes ukudya maningi, with appetite maningi, that is also your weakness, or it is your strength, whatever you, whether it's a red flag, whatever term you use. The issue is that there are certain things that we will not do away because that is what we are made of. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Evangelist. Like I said, time is not really our best ally. And let me also take this time before I ask our panelists to give their remarks. Let me take cognizance of Ruben Mulungu. Good to know that you are watching. Chucky Lewis, also good to know that you are watching as well. Not forgetting Mutinta, good to know you are watching. And Caroline, thank you so much for following the program as well as being ardent followers of Ubuntu channel Zambia. Now, Mary, if you are still with us, under a minute, I don't know if it's a comment or I think a comment from what we have discussed, if you are still with us. All right, Mary still seems to be having some issues with network. Let's go to Evangelist. I think I'll start with you. At least when you are first, it will be easy.
Okay, I'll cut. Mm-hmm. First of all, I define the red flags as indicators or signs of unhealthy relationship, or the weaknesses that are in the individual that you want to get married to, or your boyfriend or your husband. These are indicators. In the relationship, these indicators must be dealt with there and then. If they are so serious, you should quit before you get married. If they are so serious, you should quit before you get married. If you are married and you discover some of these weaknesses here, find a way you can handle them without breaking each other's backs. Find a way you can handle them without breaking each other's backs. When you are already married, it becomes a problem for you to divorce. You cannot divorce because somebody, told you a lie. But the only time this can happen is when they commit adultery. Then you say, okay, now we can divorce. But if you say that, this person told me this lie, this is not true, so I want to divorce, people will not accept that. So in other words, these red flags are important to us. We should not close our eyes, but we should open our eyes and be able to handle them. Some of these we can sit down and discuss and find solutions to them. In all situations, everything must be discussed and a solution must be found. if you can't find a solution, especially when you are dating, it is in order for you to do away with that person, because in the marriage, he will not only slap you, but he's going to use a knife to cut your throat. So watch out.
Thank you so much, Evangelist. Really appreciate you for being very brief. Excuse me. Let's quickly go to Uncle Jericho. Uncle Jericho, on your debut, on your debut appearance on the program dealing with red flags, your concluding remarks.
Well, let me say I am grateful for this opportunity, great opportunity. But every journey has its difficulties. There are highs and lows. There are water patches. There are muddy places. So is the journey of a relationship or a marriage. For you to expect that is going to be a smooth sailing, you are completely naive. So because of that particular situation, you must watch out for those particular roads. If you are driving, it's not just about knowing the direction, it's also about knowing the road. The two are different. Knowing the direction is knowing whether it is west or whatever, but knowing the road is knowing where there is a pothole and where there is a ditch and where there's whatever that may make your journey to be uncomfortable. Those are the red flags we're talking about. So in a relationship, whether it is a marriage or not yet, watch out for those, because once you have understood those, then you are able to actually be prepared as they go. And when they come, do not be quick to say, "Na ponyamo tawero, I'm going," because no, we all have batatas to go. We all have mamas to go. So at the point where you see them, sit on a round table and talk about it. Tough times happen to everybody, but someone says tough times don't last. Tough people do. Maybe I'll stop on that note. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Uncle Jericho. Himba, instead of giving your ending remarks, unfortunately, I've seen something very interesting, which I want you to respond to, you being the only female representing the female folks. Ugoli has raised a very important question or a very important issue. He talks about anger management or anger issues. This is a big red flag. We all get angry and upset sometimes, but how someone deals with that anger is a big indicator with how they'll deal with future bigger problems. In your ending remarks, kindly respond to this. You are on mute.
Thank you so much, Lance. That is a very brilliant question and very cardinal. You know, anger management in a relationship is one of the thing about people being angry. We all get upset at one point, but there are causes of that anger. Takwafyo muntu ukalipa. Sukumakache muntu akalipa from nowhere. There's always a cause, or there's always a reason why that anger is coming up in a relationship, or why is my partner acting in such a way. So what I would maybe advise is that let us find out what is causing that anger. Sometimes it's maybe somebody feel they are not heard, they feel they are neglected in a relationship, or there's an issue that has not been resolved to resolve. Or sometimes it's defensive mechanism. You know, there are many reasons, but one important thing is that we should be able to manage that anger. Because if we let the anger manage us as human beings, believe me, our relationship will not last. You know, mwalipanga you don't forgive. You know, in any situation in a relationship, it takes two to tango. Even if the other one was wrong, you also ask yourself, how did I contribute to this situation we are in? Before you even attempt to solve this problem, you need to ask yourself, how did I contribute to this situation you are in? Before you even attempt to solve this problem you are in.
All right.
This problem is not going to solve itself overnight.
Well, network is really a very big challenge that we have faced today. But however, we really rather appreciate everybody that tuned in to watch this particular broadcast of Ubuntu's channel Pansaka. Now, remember, for you, our viewer that has just joined us today, Pansaka comes your way every Thursday from 21 hours, and then we get to discuss different pertinent issues that border on social life, talking about marriages as well. And on the panel today, I had Evangelist Shaabula as well as Uncle Jericho discussing the red flags or the red flags in the marriage. Thank you so much for being part of the program. For everybody that came through via messages, everybody that shared, everybody that liked, not forgetting also you that joined us into the studio as well as joined us just by watching. We appreciate you. We say Depa Kulekapa, continue doing the great thing, and don't forget, tomorrow Friday we bring to you an exciting edition of Ubuntu Sports. Make sure that you make a date with us. Have a good evening and a blessed one. Thank you so much, and we out.